So now is the time to jump into your life and do the things that you've always wanted to do. This is the time. There are extreme energies on the planet that can be taken advantage of, that you can take a ride on. There is change happening all around you. You are experiencing this in your own life. You can see it in everything that is around you. That now is a time of immense change. And sometimes when we're afraid to take that jump, we grasp onto the old so we can feel that security and it holds us in place. And a lot of times there's a lot more pain in doing that than actually just letting go. And okay, so everything will have to change. There's going to be a big mix up and you're going to be going into the unknown. But this is the time. And this is the time in your own life. If there are things that you have wanted to do your entire life, places that you've wanted to see, changes that in the back of your mind, you always have that eventually or someday or when the time is right or when I'm able to financially or all of these external things that have to happen in or that you're creating dependency on for you to actually start living your life. And this is the time. There is never a better time than the right now to start creating those changes. So I realize that a lot of times we already have a momentum in our life in a certain direction or previous responsibilities, especially if we're a parent or if we have a home that we have a loan on or we have debt. So a lot of times we do have responsibilities that we have to take care of that we already have in motion that we don't see the way out of. But you don't have to see the entire path to start creating that change. And what you'll see is that once you start putting some kind of other thing in motion, let's say you have this dream that you've always wanted to do, one way to go about it is just jump right in. And there's another way to go about it is to slowly, gradually start building things that move you in that direction. And I remember with me when I started studying, I was already a mother for two and I went to college. And I was learning something that I loved. I learned interconnective, I don't know what it's called in English, but it's interactive communication. And I got a degree, Mendes. I don't know the word in English. It doesn't matter. This was years ago, but I had little kids at home. And whenever I wanted to do my projects, it was always, okay, once I finish doing the dishes, doing the laundry, cleaning the house, feeding the kids, once I'm done with all of my other responsibilities, then I'll sit down and start working on my projects. And what happened is that I was never getting to my projects. I was never putting that because it felt for me like that was an add-on, that I could only do that if I could only allow myself to do that once I finished all of these other things that were weighing on me. And what I realized is that if I don't just decide that I'm going to do this, then, dishes, there'll always be dishes to do. There's always going to be laundry to do. There's always going to be those other things we can fill our entire lives with fillers if we don't start taking action and start putting the new things and the things that we want to achieve, the things that we want to leave a mark in the world with. At the end of our lives, look back and say, okay, I lived a full life. I achieved something. I left a mark. I made the world a better place. There is some kind of representation of me that I am proud of that I left in this world, or at least that I had a good life and I did the things that I wanted to do when I had the chance, when I had my health, when I had the opportunities, when I was young enough to create those things. Not that I'm saying that there's an age but sometimes we do get to the end of our lives. I've seen it over and over and over and feel unaccomplished. There's a story that I often tell about an article that I read about this nurse that worked in a hospice with people that were dying, and she interviewed them, and she said that nobody ever regretted the things that they actually did. All of the regrets were in the things that they didn't do, that they wanted to do and that they didn't do. So, of course, there's going to be fear. And of course, you can't see the entire path. I mean, how boring would it be if you could see the entire path before you stepped out on it? Then you probably wouldn't even step out on it. There wouldn't be a draw to it. Because a lot of times, what we really want in life is some kind of action or an adventure, or to feel accomplished. We have to overcome and grow spiritually. And so that means that we do have to stretch ourselves out of our regular limitations or out of our comfort zone. And you could say, well, I have these dreams and these aspirations, but I don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to achieve it. I don't know, what do I do? And anything that is a step in the right direction, it could be as much as opening up a document in Google Docs or in Word and start writing out the things that you want to achieve. And once you start putting those things in the focus of your mind, once you start putting them in the forefront, as you start falling asleep at night, as you put them in, and as you start thinking about them more and more, and as they will start opening up as something that is accomplishable, something that is real in your life, something that is getting the limelight, something that is getting your focus, the ideas will start to come because it'll start becoming real. You'll start creating that reality just by putting your mind on it. And when you take your mind off of the things that you don't want, those things start naturally falling away, or they start dissolving themselves, or their solutions start working themselves out. You'll notice, I remember before I started this whole spiritual journey, I was making a lot of money. I had a business. I had a brand new car. I had a big house. I was in a marriage. I wasn't really happy in my marriage, but I remember parking in front of the house and not wanting to go into the house. I've probably told this before, but not wanting to go into the house. And I remember thinking, first of all, well, if the mother of this house doesn't want to go into the house, how do the kids feel in this house? But I remember thinking that I could just drive. I could just get in my car. Of course, I remember even thinking, well, people die and life moves on. They just disappear out of their own life. And I was thinking, well, I could just go somewhere. I could go to India. I could disappear in India. And of course, it would be sad. It really wasn't an option. But the thought that I could, the thought that you can leave your life at any instant and pick up a brand new life. So it gave me some kind of idea that change is possible. And from there, my spiritual awakening, it started, and it's been an adventure since. Even just sitting in front of the camera, if you would have told me this maybe 10 years ago, I wouldn't have believed that I would sit in front of the camera and speak. So I've come a long way. And now I honestly feel like it's a calling. It's one of those things that being an expression, actually expressing myself and actually bringing my ideas to light, is something that I've always had kind of on the back burner. I wanted to write children's books, which I haven't accomplished, but I don't really have the draw for that anymore. But it's kind of up the same alley as the things that I am doing. And just starting from where you are, there's nowhere else you can start from. It's not like you can start from the end. So, and the journey there, the actually overcoming yourself and putting something in motion and making a change in your life. Once you make one change, it'll draw another change and another change and another change. And slowly you won't even recognize your old life. And you'll be moving in a direction of like resolving yourself, but there's a better word for it. I feel like my words are falling short, but accomplishing yourself. You'll begin accomplishing yourself, and just by overcoming your fears, and just by taking a movement that you absolutely believe in. And how do you know that you're on the right path? Because it feels good. It feels aligned with you. You're passionate about it. You can sit there and do it and lose yourself in it. Now, keep in mind that you have all these old mind loops going. So in the beginning, you may start feeling guilty, and not allowing yourself, because until now you haven't allowed yourself. So you're going to still have those loops that are coming up, and like, am I worthy of this? Can I really do this? Maybe it's not a good idea, but I have all these responsibilities and people in my life don't understand me. Because once you start changing, you can be absolutely sure that people in your life will start noticing that you're changing, and it will also move them out of their comfort zone because they don't know how to grasp. It'll start um, not always. This isn't an absolute, because there are relationships where one is encouraging of the other to make change and wants to see the other one excel and succeed in what they do, and move forward and feel accomplished in their life, so that, when you truly love someone, you want that for them. But many times the people around you won't understand, and they'll want to hold you kind of in place because they know how to deal with whatever it is that you were. And it kind of scares them that you start moving into directions. They start fearing like, maybe you'll leave me behind. Maybe you'll find some other people that you're more happy with. And really, that way of thinking is what causes the loop of leaving them behind, because they can't come forward with you. They can't encourage you or give you a good word. So I'm going all over the place with this video, but everything is connected to everything, because when you start moving and start creating a new life, you have to know what to expect, so that these words, you will remember them, and they can continue to walk with you on your path. Because creating a new path a lot of times is a very individual and very lonely thing to do, but it is the most satisfying thing you can ever do. Is the feeling, and really, you're the only one that can do it, so it has to be inherently lonely, and not lonely in a way of, oh no, I'm so poor. Lonely in a way of it is your individual path, and only because you did it on your own can you feel accomplished, and can you actually receive the gifts of that independence, and actually feel like you own them and that you are deserving of them. So wherever you are now, if you have a dream, if you have something that you have always wanted to do, now is the time. Start setting that thing in motion. There are extreme energies on the planet. There is movement. Everything now is moving around. So it's like everything has come unlodged and is moving. And so now is the time of extreme change, and time where you can take advantage of that, because everything is up for grabs. Everything is in movement. It's like catching a wave. So you can catch the wave of this change, catch the wave of the change. And so I'm encouraging you, and it feels so good. It is the most fulfilling feeling that you'll ever feel, is the self-accomplishment and coming back into your own and being unapologetic for who you are and what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. And even if you do make mistakes along the way, there is no life without mistakes. And mistakes just get you closer to the correct path, because how would you know if you didn't try? If you have an idea and you try and you make a mistake and you learn from it, then that's life. And then you get used to being able to do that. Then you're able to create change in your life, and you're not stuck in, what if I make a mistake? What if I'm perceived like this? What if somebody looks at me like that? It won't matter to you anymore. You'll be so much into your own life that anybody else's ideas is not relevant to you. It's not relevant. It's nice to get reinforcement and to get compliments and for people to appreciate what you're doing, but it's not necessary. So I am sending you guys so much love and so much encouragement, and If you would like to speak with me, my information is in my website, which is in the description below. Sending you guys so much love. Thank you.